What's up everybody, BigSweetC here with you. Got a special little video for you. Today we're going to continue talking about what is one of my current favorite games to play. Although I've got a few of them right now, I'm not going to lie. It's a very good time for gaming. So if you're just now thinking about dipping your toe into such an activity, now would be a good time. But today we're talking specifically about Elden Ring. And I kind of want to, as a Dark Souls, Soulsborne, Sekiro, FromSoft aficionado, we'll say. I mean, I've literally 100%ed every Souls game, starting with Dark Souls 1 on 360. So I even, we went through all of DS 1, 2, and 3, plus all their DLC. We went through Bloodborne, we went through Demon Souls Remastered, we went through Dark Souls Remastered, we went through Sekiro. Now we're going through their new one, Elden Ring. And so I'm what you could say a little bit of a professional when it comes to playing these games. And with the attention that Elden Ring's been getting, it's clear that there are a bunch of newer players out there. And so I thought it would be a good idea to kind of maybe help you guys along, because there's a lot of stuff thrown at wannabe or faux Souls players. I see a lot of stuff on Twitch and Instagram and Twitter and all this stuff, YouTube, talking about, like, just get good. Well, they clearly they're just trolling you, because we all went through the growing pains, and this is going to hopefully help you out in terms of Elden Ring specifically. Because there were a lot of things that I picked up on in this game that I would not normally do in a Soulsborne game. So, kind of to start it off, we're going to kick into that gear. First and foremost, when you get your horse, use it. The horse is such an efficient way to get around this gigantic world map, and this is not something that I'm used to. I'm not used to being able to summon a horse. I'm not used to being able to jump or crouch and do all this crazy stuff in a Dark Souls game. Because it's not really a Souls game, it's Elden Ring, right? So it's got all the combination of all the best From Software advantages, and then some. This is the first game you can actually ride a horse, and it helps out so much getting from area to area. And not just in the grand scheme of things, a la like Red Dead 2 from like point A, LA, to point B, New York City, right? It's not just that. But there are certain areas in the game where if you're just kind of on foot, there's just so much coming at you that you don't really have enough room or speed to get across. And that's where the horse comes in. There's been ample times that I've been able to kind of run up these paths, these impregnable paths with the horse that I just couldn't seem to figure out how to do on foot. So, first and foremost, even if you don't use it as a fighting tool, I don't usually fight on horseback. It's still kind of tough for me. I'm still trying to learn how to do it. Kind of figuring it out, but for the most part, I only use the horse for travel. First and foremost, like, because he doesn't get poisoned, he doesn't accumulate rot. Now, Madness is a little different because Madness affects your mind, so he can't really block you. He can't really help you from getting away from that. But for the most part, a lot of the stuff that you have to go through, a lot of the immunity stuff that you have to go through can be negated just by riding your horse. So the horse, the steed, the spectral steed, can be your best friend and probably will be for the majority of the game, at least in terms of traveling. Tip number 2, don't be afraid to die. And I don't just mean like die, get your souls back, die, get your souls back, die, get your souls back. Like, die. You're gonna lose runes. And I called them souls earlier, they're runes in this one. You're gonna lose runes. Myself, I just lost like 30,000 or something. And I wanted to blow my brains out. But it's part of the game, it's part of the learning process. You will get those souls back, those runes back. You don't have to worry about it so much as in the terms of like Dark Souls 2, where you have this accumulation of all the experience points that you've earned, kind of putting you out of this summoning range. With the password system, none of that stuff matters anymore. Feel free to gather as many runes as you possibly can, because it's only going to help you get better. You're always progressing, whether you spend those runes or not. You're learning the maps. You're learning the enemies. You're learning the ways to combat the enemy moves. You're learning the ways to shortcut your way through the map. So don't be afraid to die. Don't be afraid to die. Number 3, it is okay to summon help. I don't know why this myth that you're not a true Elden Ring player or Souls player or Bloodborne player unless you do everything as grueling-stakingly possible by yourself. I've never gotten this. Summoning people can be a great way not to only make the game easier, but to figure out what to do. I was in a cave the other day, and I summoned a guy because I literally could not figure out how I was supposed to go. And so while he was in front of the boss door, probably expecting me to summon him for the boss fight, he was essential in me figuring out how to open this boss door. I was just not getting it. And so you're gonna go through these phases where you kind of get stuck. And if it's your first time playing, and if you're not watching, everybody and their mom on YouTube or Twitch, you're trying to figure it out for yourself like I like to do, you're gonna get lost. And that's not your fault. That's okay. You're not expected to know what you don't know. And that's where summoning people comes in. Not only can they help you with the boss fights and make them easier, truth is, bosses actually get bonus hit HP while you have people summoned, so it can actually make the battle tougher in some ways. But you can also use that easing up on the enemies to help you actually get through the level. Find secrets like illusory walls. Fight bosses that you didn't know existed. Find pathways to open up boss walls where you know where they're at, but you can't figure out how to get there. It is in no way, shape, or form a stain on how you play if you have to summon help. Summoning help is part of the game. If it wasn't, they wouldn't put it in there. And besides, it's fun to play with my brother. My brother and I love these games. We had a 10-hour session last weekend. And so don't let the negative culture behind the idea of summoning help ruin this game for you. It's tough. I know we had that journalistic malpractice where that article in probably Kotaku came out and said that there was going to be a somewhat easy mode. There is not. There is only one mode, and it's 100% of the time. And if you're having trouble, friends can really, really help you out. Use the password system. It negates all of that I'm too high level, you're too low level nonsense, and it weeds out all of the people that you don't really generally need. Now, I take off the password and I throw it up because I do need help sometimes, so don't be afraid to summon random people. As long as you don't jump into some party chat with a stranger, you should probably be okay. So don't be afraid to summon people. One last tip before we go on developing character. If this is your first time. Now, if you have built a few characters before, started a couple different ones, maybe you can test with the hybrid theory like I have in some of the other build videos. But if this is your first playthrough, take it from a guy who's put himself in this position. Pick what you want and stick to that path. And what I mean by that is if you want to be an in-your-face samurai or knight and you want to deliver heavy melee damage, stick to vigor and strength as your main two. And then you can fiddle with everything else as you go along. But pick one or two, at the absolute most, maybe 3 categories, and dump all your stats into there until you start building a quality damage build. On the flip side, if you want to be a magic user, stick to mind and either intelligence, faith, or arcane, whichever of the 3 that you're going. And the reason for this is because, like I said, I've experienced this myself. Eventually, you're going to get to an area of the game where you need a really strong attack, whether it be through magic, faith, or arcane, or through blunt striking of weapons. And if you haven't adequately beefed up one of those stats, you're going to be a middle-of-the-road okay player, and it's going to hurt you in the later game. So decide what you want to be early: melee, distance magic user, and stick to those paths. Buff up those paths. You can fool around with the mixing and the matching later, but for the most part, make sure you have at least one strong attack. That way you can fall back and rely on something that can help you get over the hump if you haven't been able to do so yet. I thought by letting you guys know that it was okay to use this stuff, that it might help your experience along, because these are things that me, even as a veteran Soulsborne player, have realized are really, really meant to be part of this game. You can get through a lot of the Dark Souls games by yourself, and if you're willing to put the time and effort into them, generally speaking, it's not nearly as difficult to get through them on your own than this one has, specifically because I still don't know where to go a lot of the time. And I'm specifically trying not to spoiler the game away. Whereas the Dark Souls games are kinda, you have one or two choices, right? You can go this way or you can go that way. But once you start down that path, they're just that path. They're fairly linear, not like Elden Ring, which is very open world to the point of where it feels more like Final Fantasy XIV than Skyrim even. This is a true open world game where you can just go anywhere you want. And so it's going to take some learning, right? You're going to have to figure out where to go. You're going to have to do some trial and error. Don't let that ruin the experience for you, because this has been a super fun game. And I'm only scratching the surface. I know Distortion 2 or whatever somehow beat the game in less than 30 minutes. But he also gets paid to play the game 12 hours a day, every single day of his life. If you're like me, I have a full-time job, I have a family outside of this, I don't get to do that. It's going to be a lot harder, it's going to take me a lot longer to make my way through the game. And so don't fret, don't be scared, take your time with it. But it's been fantastic. I can't wait to bring you more, and I'm gonna be playing this for a while. As a matter of fact, like as I've been saying, I'm totally lost. I don't really know where I'm going, so I'm relying on the kindness of strangers and just figuring it out with my brother and I. And that's the fun. That's the fun of these open world type games, is the figuring it out. So, and we will do so as I go along. I will help you guys figure it out as well. And so if you did like this video, or if this did help you at all, please do me that favor. Hit that like, hit that sub, hit that notification bell. Head on over to Instagram, Twitter, Twitch. Follow me over there at BigSweetC as well. Either way, that's going to do it for this one. BigSweetC, that's me. Wishing YouTube, that's you, a wonderful day, night, morning, afternoon, evening, whatever time of day it might be. As long as you're watching, I'm wishing you a wonderful watching time. Sweetness, signing off. Peace.